Yo, what is up, my friends? Welcome back into the podcast. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. Guys, today I'm going to be giving you my running back rankings for week 6 of the fantasy football season, and I'm going to get right into it. But guys, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. And if you do enjoy my content today, make sure to give me that like. Likes help my channel tremendously. All right, guys, I am going to get right into my number one running back for the week, and that is Christian McCaffrey. Good news, Christian McCaffrey owners. It is most likely that Christian McCaffrey is playing this week against the Minnesota Vikings. I know you've been waiting patiently for him to come back, and it is about that time. Christian McCaffrey is going to get to be back in your lineup this week, guys. It's very exciting. Obviously, you want to monitor this throughout the week because he still is technically questionable, but it is most likely that he plays, and if he is indeed playing, he's the easy number one for the week. My number 2 for the week is going to be Derrick Henry, guys. Derrick Henry is pretty much matchup proof at this point. I mean, he's going up against a very, very tough Bills defense, maybe the best defense in football. But it's Derrick Henry. This dude's seeing 30 carries plus almost every week. And he's an automatic play no matter what the defense is. So he is my number 2 for the week. My number 3 for the week is going to be Austin Ekeler. Guys, Austin Ekeler is so fun to watch. Best dual threat running back in the league. And, guys, he is just going off every week. This dude is a touchdown magnet. There was concerns going into the season that he wasn't big enough to be a true workhorse and that other running backs were going to steal his goal line work. This is not the case. He's being used heavily in the red zone. He's getting in the end zone like crazy as a product of a very elite Chargers offense. And this dude is super talented. He can beat you in the running game and the passing game. He's an auto start every week. And this week against the Baltimore Ravens, you are starting Austin Ekeler. Number 4 is Nick Chubb against the Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be a very high-scoring game, guys. I actually see the Browns handing the Cardinals their first loss this week. However, fantasy studs on both sides of the ball need to be started in this game. Obviously, you're starting both Browns running backs. If you haven't figured that out by now, you must have been living under a rock because Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are beasts. Best running back duo I've probably ever seen. And Nick Chubb is an auto start every week. You're starting him this week against the Arizona Cardinals. The number 5 for the week is going to be Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is very annoying to own because when he does play, you have to start him because his upside is so tremendous. However, there's always the concern of him going out there and re-injuring himself. We don't really know if he's going to play this week. We don't know if he's going to be at 100%. If he is at 100%, is he going to get his full workload? All these questions are still very much relevant questions, and it's just very hard to figure out what to do with Dalvin Cook. But here's what I'm going to tell you guys. If he is healthy, you just have to play him and roll with the punches. If he ends up screwing you over, that's just what it is. But you have to play Dalvin Cook if he is healthy because he's just too good to have on your bench. All right, number 6 on the week is going to be Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, he was actually the 3rd leading rusher in the NFL going into last week's game. His workload was a little bit limited because he was coming back from the injury. However, this week he's going to be 100%, and he's going to be playing against a Detroit Lions run defense that is absolutely terrible. He's going to have 20 to 25 touches in this game as the Bengals are probably going to be playing with the lead. So start Joe Mixon this week with confidence. My next running back on the week is going to be Jonathon Taylor against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans aren't going to have an answer for Jonathon Taylor, guys. Jonathon Taylor's had 2 back-to-back awesome fantasy performances. This is very good to see. I know that Jonathon Taylor owners are happy, and it's good to see Jonathon Taylor finally start to trend in the right direction. I don't see this Texans run defense being able to slow him down. I don't think they even have a chance to slow him down. I think that Jonathon Taylor is going to run all over these boys and have a huge week. So he's my number 7 for the week. My number 8 for the week is going to be Ezekiel Elliot. Cowboys going up against the New England Patriots in Foxborough. Ezekiel Elliott has been running all over everybody. This offensive line is very good, very, very good, and they're creating huge holes for Ezekiel Elliott to run through. He is an elite talent. This duo with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott is very fun to watch, and you want every part of this Cowboys backfield. So start Ezekiel Elliott this week with confidence. My number 9 for the week is going to be Aaron Jones against the Chicago Bears. Aaron Jones has been a little bit quiet lately just because he hasn't found the end zone. A.J. freaking Dillon just decided to steal his touchdown this past week, so I know that Aaron Jones owners were not happy about that. However, most weeks, Aaron Jones is going to be the one getting in the end zone. This dude's touchdown rate is absolutely insane over the past 2.5 years. And we know that this dude is a candidate to score a touchdown every week and get 100-plus yards. He's one of the best running backs in all of fantasy football, and you're starting him this week against the Bears. My number 10 for the week is going to be James Robinson. James Robinson going up against the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins don't have a very good run defense. In fact, they have a bad run defense, and they're not going to be able to stop James Robinson. The plan for the Jaguars in this game is going to be to pound the rock with James Robinson because they want to get a lead on the Dolphins and run clock because the Dolphins actually have some pretty good cornerbacks. Trevor Lawrence is still developing as a quarterback. I still think he's going to be very good in the long run, but right now James Robinson runs this offense, and the Miami Dolphins are not going to be able to stop him. So he's a great play this week. Might be one of the top 5 running backs in fantasy this week. However, I can't put him in my top 5 because the running backs that I have ahead of him are just that good. But James Robinson could have a monster week this week, guys. My next running back on the week is going to be Najee Harris. Guys, Najee Harris is a volume hog. His volume alone is going to have him in my top 15 every week and top 10 in a lot of weeks. We finally got to see him have a great fantasy performance in this last game. And it's just fun to see Najee Harris finally start to do what we drafted him for, and that's give you elite volume and elite fantasy numbers. So he is high on my list this week. My number 12 is going to be Kareem Hunt against the Arizona Cardinals. I can't have Kareem Hunt too much lower than I have Nick Chubb. In fact, I feel silly placing them 8 spaces apart because they are obviously very similar in production. I mean, look at the past 3 weeks. 2 out of the past 3 weeks, Kareem Hunt outperformed Nick Chubb from a fantasy standpoint. This past week, he had more touchdowns than Nick Chubb. However, Nick Chubb had 160-plus yards and outscored him slightly from a fantasy standpoint. But Kareem Hunt gets so much goal line work in what's one of the best offenses in football. This dude scores touchdowns like crazy. His running efficiency is absolutely insane. Both these running backs are having more than 5 yards per carry on the young season. They are a very impressive backfield, maybe the best backfield I've ever seen, running behind a great offensive line. So you're starting Kareem Hunt every single week. I could even consider this dude a low-end running back 1 at this point. All right, guys, my number 13 for the week is going to be Darrel Henderson against the New York Giants. The New York Giants are not going to have an answer for Darrel Henderson, as most teams don't. This is a very good running back on a very good offense. And the point is, the Giants are a banged-up team right now, and there is no way that the Rams won't be playing with the lead in this game. This favors Darrel Henderson to get heavy rushing volume and some passes out of the backfield. There were concerns going into the year that Sony Michel was going to be splitting the backfield with Darrel Henderson. This is not the case. This is Darrel Henderson's backfield, and he's going to go off this week. So you're starting him this week with confidence. My number 14 for the week is going to be DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift against the Cincinnati Bengals. DeAndre Swift is emerging as one of the best dual-threat running backs in football. He gets heavy volume in the passing game. They use him as a wide receiver a lot, and he still gets a healthy workload as far as carries. He's usually getting 13 or 14 carries a week and 7 or 8 targets. This is elite opportunity share, and he is the focal point of the offense, so you're starting him this week with confidence. My next running back is going to be Antonio Gibson against the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, the Chiefs are probably going to have a lead in this game, so I think that Terry McLaurin is going to be the fantasy beast for the Washington football team in this game. However, Antonio Gibson has been trending upward. He's starting to get in the end zone, which is a very good sign. This is going to be a high-scoring game, meaning the Washington football team is going to want to use their best offensive weapons to try to move the ball. After Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson is the best offensive weapon on this team, so they're going to be using him a lot to move the ball in this game. So he's high on my list for the week. My number 16 for the week is going to be Damien Williams against the Green Bay Packers. Damien Williams is a very good replacement for David Montgomery because he gives you he's just a safe floor play. I don't see this dude having any monster fantasy performances just because the offense just isn't that good in Chicago yet. Maybe it will be in the future, but Justin Fields is still a rookie, and they really just don't move the ball down the field that well. So his ceiling is a little bit capped. However, he is a very safe floor play due to volume and being a dual threat back. So you're starting him this week against the Packers with confidence. My number 17 for the week is Josh Jacobs against Denver. Denver is a very good defense, but look, Josh Jacobs is starting to get his touches. He had a lot of receptions this past week, so they're using him as a dual threat back, which is a very good sign. This team does like Josh Jacobs a lot, guys. When Josh Jacobs is healthy, he is a huge part of the game plan for the Raiders. And so even though Derek Carr is having a very good season, despite having a bad game this past game, the running game is still a big part of their offense, and Josh Jacobs is one of the best weapons on the team. So you're starting him this week with confidence against the Denver Broncos. Leonard Fournette at my 18 against Philadelphia. Leonard Fournette is the product of a great offense, guys. I've always actually kind of thought that he was an overrated running back. His yards per carry efficiency in his career is really not very good. It's somewhere around 4.2 or 4.3 yards a carry. That's not that great. However, he is the product of a very, very good Tampa Bay offense led by the GOAT Tom Brady. And so he's a candidate every week to get in the end zone. And teams have to play so hard to stop the pass against Tampa Bay that it leaves open holes for Leonard Fournette to run through when they do run the ball. So by default, he's going to have some good fantasy production. So start him this week with confidence. My number 19 for the week is going to be Damien Harris against the Dallas Cowboys. Damien Harris had 98 yards this past week. I wanted a bigger game for him this past week because he had such a juicy matchup against the Texans. But he's still a volume running back that's going to be a candidate every week for 20-plus touches. Look for him to have 20-plus touches this week against the Cowboys, and so you can start him with confidence due to volume. My number 20 running back, and I'm excited about this one because if you guys can't tell, I am kind of a Cowboys fan. Tony Pollard. Guys, I want every bit of this backfield. They're running, but if you watch these Cowboys games, the holes that this offensive line is creating are just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, these guys are running behind a very, very good offensive line. And they're two of the most efficient running backs from a yards per carry standpoint. So I'm telling you guys, Tony Pollard is a very, very good flex play going forward for the rest of the entire season. I know it's a split backfield, but right after the Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb duo, this is the best running back duo in all of football. And you want to start Tony Pollard at your flex with confidence. My number 21 is going to be Zack Moss against the Tennessee Titans. Guys, Zack Moss is simply a product of a very good Buffalo Bills offense. And he had 92 yards from scrimmage this past week. He's being used heavily in the passing game. He's clearly the number one back on the team over Devin Singletary. He's outperformed him like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. So don't even think about starting Devin Singletary above Zack Moss. Zack Moss is the man in Buffalo. This offense is putting up crazy points every week. They're scoring like 40-plus points every single week. So by default, you have to start Zack Moss because he always has a really good chance to get in the end zone, and he's turning out almost 100-yard performances. So I'm very excited to see what this running back can do, and you are starting him with confidence this week against Tennessee. My number 22 for the week is going to be Myles Gaskin. Myles freaking Gaskin, guys, decided to creep his way back into my top 25 after I was thinking that you should drop him off your roster. He finally had a great fantasy performance, and this guy makes almost no sense as far as what he's doing in fantasy this past year. I definitely didn't see him having a big game this past week against Tampa Bay. However, he did, and he's still the lead back for the team, and he's playing against a Jaguars team that has pretty much an average run defense. It's better than people give them credit for, but it's definitely not a good run defense. So considering that the running back landscape is very rough right now, he creeps his way into my top 25 and is definitely the 22nd best option for the week. My number 23 for the week is going to be Chase Edmonds against the Cleveland Browns. Don't make anything of his down week this past week, guys. The volume was down. It was a very low-scoring game. That 49ers defense is absolutely nasty, and you don't want to start a lot of running backs against them. But you're definitely starting Chase Edmonds because he's a dual-threat back in a very good offense. Hasn't found the end zone yet. However, once this dude does regress in touchdowns and start actually getting in the end zone a little bit, he's going to be a really good running back. And he's already putting up pretty good fantasy numbers even without getting in the end zone. So you're starting him every week. My number 24 for the week is going to be Alex Collins against Pittsburgh. Guys, I don't think that Chris Carson is going to be playing this week. I just don't. His neck injury seems to be pretty lingering, and this dude is just, he gets banged up so much. It's annoying to deal with. I just don't think that he's going to be able to start this week. He's probably going to be out again. So Alex Collins creeps his way into my top 25 against Pittsburgh. Seattle is, they're playing with a backup quarterback now, so they might have a little bit of trouble moving the ball. However, they're not going to be as pass happy with Geno Smith as they were with Russell Wilson, so that should mean more volume for Alex Collins. So start him with confidence against Pittsburgh. The final one on my list for the week is going to be Darrel Williams against the Washington football team. The Washington football team's defense has been terrible this year, guys. They were supposed to be good. However, they're really bad. And by default, Darrel Williams being the new starting running back for the Chiefs and being on a very high-scoring offense is going to have plenty of touchdown opportunities because he plays for the Chiefs, and that's what the Chiefs do. They score points. So those are my top 25 running backs for the week, guys. The running back landscape is just very rough right now. There's so many injuries. There's so many underperforming running backs. So I hope this video helped you figure out who to plug into your lineup this week. I'm going to be getting at you at least 2 or 3 more times between now and Sunday. I got my wide receiver rankings later in the week and some other things that I'm going to get with you guys on. But that's it for the video today, guys. I am going to catch you later.